Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a haul on all the decks that I got in September. It was my birthday this month, so I wanted to treat myself to some new decks since I hadn't bought any in a really long time. A really long time. A lot of these were gifts and some I bought for myself. They're mostly tarot decks, but I did get one oracle deck. So I will be showing that at the end. And yeah, so this was a pretty big haul by my standards because I usually don't buy this much at once, but I really wanted to treat myself and I am happy that I did because I am having the time of my life, to be honest with you. So let's get into the first deck. It is the Storyboard Tarot, and I had been yearning for this deck. I kid you not. The first time I saw this deck was on another creator's channel. She was doing pick a card readings with them, and I found them so gorgeous. I love the concept of like the storyboard essentially, where they have different imagery going on, and it's a very intuitive deck. The backs are absolutely gorgeous. They're like gilded in this pattern. So beautiful. I love it. Now, this deck is from Tevada Tarot, and I actually got it on a discount, and I also got, I think I got some money off as well from a coupon code. It's not in English, unfortunately, at the back here, but the guidebook does come with English meanings towards the back of the deck. This is the inside of the box, by the way. So the guidebook is just a little white book. It's written by Lee Sha. And in front it's in Chinese, and then towards the back we have the English translation. It comes with a preface, spread, and then we get right into the meanings. It also comes with an additional card called Wonderful Encounters. It'll probably be somewhere in the deck because it's shuffled. I tend to really like shuffled flip throughs because just the chronological flip through is kind of boring to me, so I'll be doing that. But this deck is so beautiful and incredibly intuitive. The guidebook also comes with the meanings of the elements, the significant elements in here. So let's look at one for the magician. Well, let's look at all for the magician, since it's right at the front. Okay, so it says, success cannot do without talent and hard work. Make good use of the resources around you, and you will soon explode with unstoppable creative energy. The symbolic elements. The first one is the four elements. So you see we have the four elements all along here: swords, wands, pentacles, and cups. And that symbolizes the tools needed for creation. We also have the infinity, which is above the magician's head, and it stands for the infinite energy, flexibility, and adaptability. We have lily scattered throughout, and that is for wisdom. And then we have the red rose for passion. So it is a good guidebook by my standards. I quite love how simple it is, but yet at the same time, it is quite full of information because you do get the symbolic meanings of all the elements that we have present in the imagery. I am obsessed with this deck. It is very feminine leaning, very heavily feminine deck, which I don't mind at all because most of my clients are females and I'm a woman myself, so I don't mind the lack of diversity in the sexes. It's also not diverse racially either, which is not something that I was very focused on, although it is incredibly important to have diversity in decks. But I was far more interested in the concept of the deck with the storyboard, how we have just these different elements that could stand out in a reading. So my focus was not so much on the diversity of the deck, but rather the intuitive messages that I got looking at the imagery. And I just found it so fascinating because reading with this, just looking through the images, I get so many intuitive hits from this deck just from the imagery alone. So even if you don't fully grasp the card meanings, it's quite easy to understand what could be happening or to form your own understanding of a reading based on, certain images that are present in the cards, which might not be the typical or normal meaning. But I absolutely love it. It's so hilarious because the I was supposed to buy this deck a little while ago. I had it on my wish list, but the time was just not right for me to get the deck. And I was just yearning and yearning for it. And then one day I saw that there was like 4 left on the Tavada site, and it was discounted as well. So I was like, yes, I need to get this. I need to get this because I do not want to miss out on this opportunity to get it not only discounted, but get a percentage off as well from their coupon code. So I was like, okay, I am gonna purchase this deck. But I had to wait for a payday because I didn't want to just splurge unnecessarily out of budget. And it was getting closer to payday, and then I checked back just to ensure it was still there, and there was 2 left. So at that point I was panicking. Because I didn't want to miss out on the opportunity to get the deck at such a discounted price. And I ended up asking my partner if they had any cash on their card because I didn't have on my card at the moment, my online shopping card. I would have to deposit the money into my account because I had the cash on me. And I don't really like going to the bank. I don't like leaving the house. So I would have still had to wait to have that deposited if my partner did not have the cash on her card, which she did not. So I ended up having to wait until the next day. And instead of going to the bank to deposit into my card, I decided to give her the cash I had to deposit, so that I could get the deck right away as soon as possible. And she did that the next morning, and I was able to snag the deck. And not too long after, it was completely sold out. So I'm so glad I was able to get it before I missed it, because that was really such a close call with this deck. Too close of a call. And I would have really regretted if I didn't get it. So I'm so happy I did. I've been babying this deck. Absolutely babying this deck. I haven't been using it as much, which is so crazy because I wanted it so badly to use it. But if you notice, the card stock is more of like a cardboardy texture, and it's pretty thick. But this type of cardstock, I notice, tends to fray at the edges when you use them a lot, because I have another deck with similar cardstock. So I just want to be so gentle because this deck is just so precious to me. I love this deck so much, and I've been absolutely babying it. Though I have been reading with it, getting acquainted with its energy, I slept with it under my pillow, and it was such a gentle night's sleep. Like, the dreams were not crazy. The deck, I think I was dreaming about doing tarot readings as well. So the deck was just so, it took care of me in my sleep. Because some decks, like the dreams, end up insane, but not with this one. And even the imagery itself is just very cartoonish and soft. And even though it doesn't shy away from depicting what it has to depict, it is a gentle deck, in my opinion. But I don't mind that at all. I still have to get acquainted with how it reads, but doing like my own personal readings and testing it out with like shows and seeing if it can, you know, pick up the energy, which it did very, very well. It was great. I haven't used it in client readings, though I think it would be amazing for client readings. Just absolutely amazing for client readings, because not only will I be able to pick up on more things than I typically would be able to with, a regular RWS themed deck, I am able to also point out things that would deeply resonate with the client. And the client themselves would also be able to pick out things that deeply resonate with them based on, what they notice in the imagery. And I can form a story essentially, which is like, I'm getting the whole point of the deck. You can make your own story from the images that you see in, the card. And just looking at the cards, like, you can just come up with so many things as to what it could be telling you. Here is our special card. Wonderful encounters. Beautiful. And I love the art so, so much. I should read what this says. I love the art so much. It reminds me of the manga I would read as a kid. So yeah, it was really, really calling to me. Such a beautiful deck. Okay, so we have wonderful encounters. Have a desire to explore the unknown and inject more surprises into your dull life. Give yourself a chance to discover serendipity and exciting moments in life. When this card appears, surprises will come. It could be luck. It could be I can't speak. It could be luck. It could be a reward for previous endeavors. Or it could be that someone else is waiting for you to show up and respond. Be thankful for the gifts of the world and for your courage. Beautiful. Interesting. But yeah, I love the art of this deck so much. And I haven't seen any other deck utilize this sort of, how do I say, layout, which is what really, really drew me to it in the first place. Because I love when I can use my intuition in readings, because I do get a lot of intuitive hits during my readings, and sometimes I don't be trusting myself enough. But I feel like this would definitely help me to hone that and to pick up on other things as well that could be occurring just from the imagery. But yeah, absolutely gorgeous deck. I love, love, love it. So pretty. And I love the way that they have depicted the cards. Like this devil, hello. and the symbols that they've used and the fact that they've explained the symbols. One thing about me and decks, if a deck is going to have a story behind it, essentially, because it is called the Storyboard Tarot, but if it's gonna have a story other than the RWS depiction, then I would need the guidebook to properly explain what they're trying to convey. And I have been put off from decks just because the guidebook doesn't fully go into detail about what they're trying to depict. Because yes, you can use your intuition, but if, for example, the Star Spinner Tarot, like, I love the imagery and the diversity of the deck, but they utilize stories in their cards, and I'm not able to recognize all of those stories, and the guidebook does not go into detail about those stories. So that has greatly put me off from that deck, even though it's gorgeous, just because the guidebook doesn't go into detail about what I'm supposed to be understanding about why they chose certain imagery for the card. But this one, it really, really, really explains the imagery, the elements in such a concise and perfect way, where you're not reading like walls of text just to understand what is happening. You get the important elements, and then you form your own story based on the elements, and you don't even have to follow the guidebook, to be honest with you. It is such an intuitive deck, so intuitive. But the fact that they did take the time to explain why certain things are there, what they're supposed to mean, it's amazing. And I love that about this deck. Love, love, love. But yeah, this is the Storyboard Tarot. Such a beautiful deck. This was the one I wanted the most, so of course I had to start off with this to show you guys. I was just absolutely yearning for this deck, and it is my baby. I don't know when I'm gonna bring myself to like use it in client readings, because I just want to be so gentle with this deck. I want to nurture and care for this deck. I don't want anything to happen to it. It's just so perfect to me. But it's like I can't just have it as a display, you know. I really want to use it, and that's why I got it, because I really, really want to use it. So yeah, this is the Storyboard Tarot. I love, love, love this deck. And the backs, oh, the backs are so gorgeous. Unfortunately, it's not essentially reversible, because you will tell if it's in reverse, but I think that it could be a good addition to a reversal reading, because we have the rose and the lily, which could mean different things to you in your reversal interpretation. I could add to the interpretation, you know, like the lily for wisdom, so maybe what you need to learn to move forward. And then the rose, which I think it was passion. It could be, you know, how events are playing out based on, you know, your first impulse, or I don't know. It's really up to you to understand how you would want to read it as a reversal. But the guidebook does not have reversal meanings either, which I do not even think it's necessary, and I don't read reversals, so it's definitely not necessary for me. But the I think the imagery is more than enough for a concise and nuanced and just a complex reading. I think it really gets to the point without needing the cards to be reversed. And it's just a simple little simple box. Thankfully, it has the thumb holes so you can get them out easily. I can't remember the name of the artist because it's in Chinese, but I got this on Tabata Tarot. Beautiful, beautiful deck. Okay, so this is a deck that I've had on my wish list for quite a while. It was actually in my cart. I think it's like amongst the first set of decks that I really wanted to get at the beginning of my journey. But because I had it in my cart for so long, it eventually got to the bottom of the cart. And every time I'd order any new decks, I would forget about it because it was all the way to the bottom. So I would just be buying decks, and forgetting this one deck. And then every time I would look at flip throughs of the deck, I was obsessed with it. I loved it. I really, really wanted the deck. But it's like that thing that happens where you literally forget about a deck that you want so bad and something else catches your eye and then you're all over that deck. So yeah, that has been my dilemma with this deck for some time, but it's finally here and I'm really, really excited. I've been working with this deck quite a bit since I got it, and I I love this deck. I feel really, really connected to this deck, and I am so happy that I decided to get it when I'm farther along on my tarot journey, because I can really connect with a lot of elements of the cards, and I absolutely love it. I love this box as well. I love these sorts of boxes. I have another deck by Liminal 11 with this same box, and I just love how it's like a two-piece where you pull it out and put the deck and guidebook in here. Very sturdy deck. Very sturdy box. I mean, I love me a good box when it comes to my decks, because those flip tuck boxes, I think, yeah, the tuck boxes are so fragile. Like the cheap ones from Los Scarabeo, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I have I think 2 decks from them that come in a tuck box, and it's the most annoying thing ever. I honestly hate it, and I don't like storing my decks in different bags. I like them to be in their original packaging because it's just easier for me. But yeah, it is a full color guidebook, pretty small, tiny. It's hardcover, which is pretty cool. I love that. It comes with 2 extra cards, and I'm still getting to know these extra cards, but there's one of the extra cards that has been stalking me, absolutely stalking me. So sorry, the guidebook was moving in view. Yeah, it's full color. It comes with like a page of information for all of the major arcana, and let's see, then for the minor arcana we have some explanations, like basic explanations of each suit, and then it's like 2 to 3 pages for the whole suit. Yeah. And it has some of the art from the cards. It doesn't show the actual card itself, which I don't mind at all. And then we have some spreads at the back, and then after that we have the 2 extra cards, which is the black Numen and the white Numen. And yeah, that's it. Cute little guidebook, love it. The card stock is pretty glossy, and it has like this plasticky feel to it, which I don't mind. It's not edged, which I don't mind either, but it is probably gonna get really dirty. The artwork on the back, it's not reversible, as in you won't be able to, well, you will be able to tell if a card is reversed, but that shouldn't stop you if, I don't know. I don't read with reversal, so I'm fine with it. I love it. But one thing I noticed that kind of puts me off is the fact that the art, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it's kind of blurry-ish, like low quality. I don't know. I kind of wish that it was sharper, the art, like it was more, vivid. The lines were sharper. It looks like a picture printed on the card, if that makes sense. But the actual art on the cards is crispy, detailed, like so vibrant, which I really wish the back was like that as well. But I don't know if it was like on purpose. Maybe the type of medium that was used. I don't know. But yeah, just that's my one hang up with this deck. But I'm doing it in a weird way. I should flip it over. Yeah. Is it in the center? Maybe we could put this over. Yeah. I love that the colors are so vibrant for each suit. Like, if it's a wand suit, if it's an air suit, here, swords, cups, or pentacles. I love that. And I also love the use of color in the major arcana as well. It adds like a whole other layer. If you like to look at the color symbology in the cards. And the art style is just so gorgeous. It kind of reminds me of Studio Ghibli, but in I don't know, like a fluffier way, if that makes sense. It is very, very Studio Ghibli, and Studio Ghibli is my absolute favorite studio animators. Like, I love everything Studio Ghibli. I am a huge Studio Ghibli just fiend. Like, they're so full of whimsy. My inner child just jumps for joy at the art style. But it's like kind of Studio Ghibli meets cartoon, because it has like a very stylistic art to it. But I love it. It's so pretty. I love the colors. And I've been using this with the Oracle deck that I've gotten recently, which I'll show soon. But I love that they play well together. I haven't really looked at my other Oracle pairings with it because I've been just trying to get to know the deck as a deck, like how it works on its own. And then I'd understand like if my current decks, current Oracle decks I have would match with it, or if I would prefer to get something else that I feel called to would match with it. But as of now, I've been really enjoying just working with this deck. It is, I feel very intuitively connected with this deck. I don't just solely rely on the title, like if it's the Five of Wands or the Ace of Cups. I don't solely rely on just that meaning. I feel like the deck kind of speaks with its imagery, which I find some decks tend to do that, and some are like very much focused on the title of the card. Some of them can speak very well with their imagery, and this is a deck that speaks very, very well with its imagery. And I love the way I can, understand what it's trying to see, because I have so much ease transporting myself into this world. Like I was mentioning about, I love Studio Ghibli, and it feels really, really natural connecting with the deck. I've been reaching for it a lot since I've gotten it, out of all the decks I've gotten, because I feel really, really connected. Like I really understand how this deck is speaking to me. And I do need to do like a proper interview spread and like a really deep dive into it, which I want to do in another video. But as of now, I've just kind of been playing with it, getting to know it. I did sleep with it under next to my pillow. And I can't remember what my dreams were like, but they were certainly interesting. Nothing crazy, but certainly interesting. Food for thought. And I don't know. There's just something about this deck that speaks my language. The art, the messages. It's just perfect. Like, I love the Seven of Wands so much. And like, it's things like this that really speaks to me when I get these cards in a spread, because like a situation could be so specific and this imagery alone is enough for me to like grasp the feeling. And that's another thing, the deck speaks so well in feelings that sometimes I don't really know how to properly articulate the feeling that it's giving me, but like I completely understand what it's trying to say. Even if I can't put words to it, it's like the deck is just sending me these downloads, or like just the imagery are sending me these downloads that help me to just grasp that message really, really easily. Yeah. And I love how the suits all are like really color coded. So I don't have any difficulty understanding. Okay, no, actually, there's one card that I was like, hold on, why is this color? And that is the Queen of Swords. I don't know if we'll come across her at some point, but she is a vibrant reddish orange. And you know, yeah, she's coming up. There we go. Speak of the devil. Okay. She is a vibrant red, and then we have the orange here. Like, this gives me Queen of Wands. This heavily gives me Queen of Wands. I don't get Queen of Swords from the color at all, but then I think about it. I could use that as a layer in my messages or like in my readings, where maybe she once was a Queen of Wands, or she once was, she had that energy, that charisma, that drive, that big personality. But it could have caused her some amount of pain, some amount of hurt. Maybe she learned a lot of lessons from it. Maybe she's been put in situations where now she's a bit wiser than she was before. So she could have that underlying Queen of Wands energy to her, but now she knows when to bring it out, or how best to wield it. So yeah, that is another layer that I could look at it from. But I'll just have to observe the card a bit more and see how it comes out in different situations to really understand, you know, what the card itself is trying to say to me. But yeah, that is my only like hang up. Just that one like color. And then we have here with the King of Swords too, which I might need to like really sit with it to understand, because it's giving me Wands energy, but I think I can't remember. I need to check the book to see, because I know they're like the queens in the deck are water. So this is, and they're air. So this is air of air, but then it doesn't make sense. Like, why is it red? I don't know. I'll figure it out as I get accustomed to the deck. It's not that big of a deal, to be honest with you. It's just something I noticed about it. Um, I love this Hierophant. I love that it's not a typical, old man. I love this Page of Wands too. Some of the depictions are so perfect, so stimulating, and really like prompts you to think about why it's depicted. I'll be like, this Five of Cups, like, this is so interesting. And there can be so many different interpretations just from this simple imagery. And this as well, like, I love how the artist chose to depict a lot of these scenes. It really feels like they have a good grasp on tarot and what the cards mean, which really helps to connect with the deck because it's not difficult at all to understand the message behind the cards. It's not so far off from the usual that a beginner would have difficulty reading with it. It is very much RWS, but just with a very nice artistic twist, a very nice perspective, unique perspective on the tarot, like with the many hands reaching out to grasp the aces, the different aces. Yes, it's so beautiful. But yeah, love, love, love this deck. I love the art of it. And this is so interesting. Who would have thought to depict the Eight of Wands this way? That is such a... I love this Seven of Swords too. You can interpret it in so many different ways. But yeah, so this is the White Numen Tarot. I think we passed the extra cards already. Let's see. Yeah, we did. I do want to get into those extra cards because they're interesting. I've only been getting the Black Numen a lot, not so much the White Numen, which I'm guessing there's a message in the Black Numen for me. And I've been really trying to digest, what those extra cards have been trying to say. Because, I mean, it is the artist's own interpretation of a concept. So I've been like absorbing the message from the guidebook about the cards and seeing the situations that it comes out in. Okay, let's start with the Black Moon since I've been getting that a lot. I should save this for a deep dive probably, but I do want to just read the meaning. It is an extra card. Okay, so the keywords, I'll put it in case anyone wants to pause and read. Void, pending loss, corrosion. The two Numen face their own extinction, two branches upside down, just about to burn into the sacred fire. The world is about to be spun upside down, and yet they still guard their altar, which drowns slowly into the depths. Once absorbed by the haze, their sacred nature shall depart, simple beasts once more, still with the promise of a re-encounter of the divine. The Black Numen symbolized clinging on to causes that may seem lost, distraction and confusion, a challenge to faith, with the knowledge that it shall return. And we have the White Numen. Just letting you absorb that imagery. Okay, let's get into the meaning. We have the keywords: creation, starting point, divine inspiration. The God's Father runs free across the virgin earth's plains. In apparent weightlessness, just like the bison in ancient cave paintings, it traverses the world, making sure that all of creation is in order. Above him, dimensions open and the power of the sun glows between his horns. The bronze, stars, and bird guide him as the morning breaks. The white Numen symbolizes creation through action, the perfect and divinely inspired path resulting from movement and momentum. Act, innovate, make the world anew. Okay. I should have put these side by side initially. But yes, these are the two extra cards, and certainly interesting concepts. And I'm looking forward to exploring it more as I read with this deck and, understanding what situations it shows up in and what it could be trying to say in those situations. As I said, I don't really have a good grasp on, what the author is trying to convey with these cards because, again, it's their own perspective, their own belief, their own philosophy. So I kind of have to put myself into that card whenever it comes up and, understand its different places. But I do keep it in the deck and use it. It's not something that I just put aside, even though I don't understand it, because I do want to understand it. I have a few decks with extra cards, and I enjoy when, I have to do some mental exercises to understand, what a message could be trying to say, instead of just using the generic 78 cards that we learn about every time we use the deck. But yeah, this was the white Numen. I absolutely love this deck. So happy that I got it finally, after having it in my card for way too long. It's finally here with me, and I must say I'm very happy that I decided to invest in this deck. Okay, so another deck that I really, really wanted and just spent copious amounts of time admiring and yearning after is the Tarot of the Witch's Garden. And I had this on my Amazon list for a while, but I hadn't realized that I had it on my list when I was shopping for the decks that I wanted. So I was looking through it because I wanted to get something else, and I was just contemplating what out of my list I would add to my collection. And I saw this and I was looking through it, and I realized that I had never looked at a flip through of the full deck. I think I had seen it on Reddit. I think someone had posted a few cards, and I think it was the death card that just called my name. It was such a beautiful death card. I was in love with it. I think a few other cards as well that they had posted that I was just so drawn to. And then I added it to my list, but I don't think I ever sat down and really looked at the full deck of cards, then a flip through of everything. And when I tell you, as soon as I looked at the flip through of this deck, I felt this immense yearning. It was crazy. It was like I had to have that deck, and I had to have it immediately. So I was just going back and forth because it is on the pricier side. Like, it's closer to an indie deck price. It's like really close to the price of the Storyboard Tarot, the discounted price. So it was a bit of a splurge to because I did want to get a few different decks, and this would kind of take my budget a bit out the way. But it was just so beautiful to me, and I spent so long going back and forth about if I should get the deck. But here it is. I evidently decided I should. It is so beautiful. I love this author, Sasha Graham. I think I'm really on a mission to collect any decks with guidebooks written by her, because when I tell you, I have 3 of her books basically in this deck haul, which is it's a bit much, but I mean, look at this. The book is like such good material. It's like that kind of glossy, doesn't really feel like paper books, and it's full color. Comes with a good amount of information. It comes with reversed meanings. We also have at the back of the book some spreads along with some spells. So you can use certain cards in spells, and you can also use certain spreads to oh wait, no, I think it's just the cards that you use, but you have the spreads as well to like explore certain aspects of your life, like love and romance, and then you have a spell for it. We have home and garden, then you'd have a spell for it. So this is really what sold it for me, because I love books that come with decks. Like, I'm such a nerd for a good book with a deck, especially like a big one. When this is a chunky, like this is a chunky book. Like, this is like an actual full-size book, and it's so beautifully illustrated. The art, I love that you have the art of the cards. Let me zoom in so you can get a close-up of this. I love that you have the art of the cards on with the meaning, so you don't need the deck to go through and or maybe I shouldn't put it up. Yeah, you don't need the deck to go through the guidebook to research any of the meanings. But the art, oh my gosh. When I tell you, I spent so long just admiring the art of this deck, just looking at as many videos as I could with people going through, doing flip throughs, explaining their thoughts, their perspectives on the cards, going through the guidebook, learning what the guidebook has to say. Like, everything about this deck is so beautiful. It's so gorgeous. And the card stock, I don't know if you can tell, but it's like a linen finish. Not like, it is a linen finish. And it's gorgeous. I love this card stock. It's so silky, so smooth. This deck was so worth it, and I'm so happy I got it, because like, look at this art. Look at this artwork. It's so vibrant. It's borderless. The detail, it's so rich with detail. The depictions are just so perfect. I mean, like, some depictions, some cards, I don't fully agree with. I'm like, I don't see why you did it that way. But regardless, I can get behind all the other cards because they are just so stunning, and you get a vivid, intuitive download via the imagery about what additional layers you could find to when you're doing a reading. I just love it, and it's such a comfortable size as well. Like, the cards are not too small, but then at the same time they're not too big. It's like just perfect for you to get that imagery, and also for you to have a comfortable experience while shuffling. And then the card stock as well just makes it amazing. Like, I would definitely recommend this deck to beginners, because the imagery, it it does a really good job of relaying the meanings, and it is an RWS deck. uh, I yeah, I think it is RWS. And it's not just like only, how do I say this, only RWS depictions. Like, they do take some creative liberty with them, like this. Like, oh my gosh, this is the best Hierophant I've ever seen, honestly, because I can vividly understand what this card is trying to teach, or what it's trying to say, or what it's trying to show, because of how we have this old woman, which would represent, wisdom, tradition, structures, rules. Just, I think, like, we get like just a vivid understanding of what the old person signifies without it being like really religious or like really political, or just it's not like a trigger in any way for any topics that could like skew our, I mean, it could be triggering, I don't know, but to me it's not like triggering with in the terms of like topics that could skew our perception of, you know, the energy of the card. We can understand that this person is teaching these little kids, or the little kids are coming for something, and this old person can provide whatever that is for them. And I feel like I have a good grasp of it in my head, but you know how certain things like you can't explain it for other people to grasp? The feeling you get from looking at it, like it just makes so much sense to me. Just something about it is, it just clicks like perfectly with the meaning that I have of the Hierophant in my brain. Oh, I love, oh, this deck is also like really feminine leaning, and I love it. I love heavy feminine decks because I am a woman and I commonly read for women. I don't really read for guys unless it's in person, and then they're like not as much of them compared to women. So I don't mind it at all. I love women. I'm not like big on the, you know, it has to have man. It needs to be balanced. Like I don't really care about that. I love girls. I love girls. Oh my god, I someone had pointed out the drunk frogs at the bottom there, and I can't unsee it. That's just so hilarious. I don't know if it can like focus or not. Oops, sorry. I'm on my phone, so I don't know. But yeah, that's so funny. Refocus. Beautiful. Well, this is an example of a card that I don't really agree with. Like, it doesn't really click for me. But I think that if I spend some more time with this deck, I'll understand, you know, that Seven of Wands depiction. Because it someone mentioned that it has a Six of Wands vibe, and I do agree. It seems very Six of Wands to me. But that's okay. This is so beautiful. I love that it's two women. So it's like not traditional at all. Like, 'cause you get like a whole different perspective. Well, not even like a whole different perspective, but it could point to certain things as well. But you probably wouldn't pick up with a typically depicted deck. You know, this Four of Swords is so pretty. And I love that, like, this is probably a card that I'm gonna get really often when it would, you know, point to sleeping. Because I do get this Four of Swords for sleeping. And it also has a very witchy undertone. It is secrets. Oh, it's not. Oh yeah, it's Tower of the Witch's Garden. The book is called Secrets of the Witch's Garden, which is so, this is so cute. I love this. I love me a good book. Like, y'all understand how much the book sold this for me, and I want all of the decks with guidebooks by Sasha Graham, because those are like the best part to me. Like, I love to sit down and read a deck's guidebook. I love hearing new perspectives. I love just understanding the voice of the deck, of the artist, of the author. I love how they would point out certain things that, you know, you wouldn't have thought of otherwise. I just love learning. I'm just all for learning new things. And I love like the style that she tends to like collab with, like the art style she tends to do. It's not something that I'm pushed away from. Like, I want so many of her decks. It's crazy. I'm saying her decks like it's only for her guidebook decks. Like, if she could just like if I could just get the guidebook, I'd be happy. But the decks as well. Plus, hello, I love me a new deck. I'm babbling at this point. I'm sorry, but yeah, this deck. I love how vibrant these colors are, and the art is just. It's so gorgeous. I am in love. I'm obsessed. That it's like you just get so much out of this deck. You get so much. Okay, this looked a lot like the Ten of Cups, which is like something that I don't really understand, but it's not like a deal breaker of any kind. Like the deck is here. I don't care. This is so cool with the tarot. Oh, this devil, so vibrant. Love it. It's a woman. You get so much information looking at this. Oh my god, this is one of my favorite cards. Like, can we just like what? This is so perfect. So pretty. I don't know why I find it so pretty, but it's cute. Mm. But yeah, Tarot of the Witch's Garden. Beautiful, beautiful deck. I'm so happy with this. Ooh, we have the lovers. Cutesy. So happy with this deck. Here are the box. They are reversible. So yeah, you can read it with reversals, and it does include the reversal meaning in the guidebook. I don't typically read with reversal. If it comes out, then I'll take it, but I don't like purposely shuffle to have it. Um, but yeah, this is a very, very happy purchase. I'm so glad I got it. Beautiful, beautiful deck. Okay, so on the topic of Barbara Moore, I also got the Mystical Manga Tarot, designed by Ran with text by Barbara Moore. And I got this deck once again because I loved the guidebook. So big, juicy, full color, beautiful. Honestly, like any deck could sell me with a good guidebook. Even if I don't really like the art of the deck, I am willing to like sacrifice if the guidebook is good because then I know I'll connect with the deck when I read the guidebook, even if I don't like really, really like the art. Or I could just use the guidebook instead of like just using the deck, you know? But yes, this is so pretty. I am an anime fiend, manga fiend. I used to read so much manga as a kid. I haven't read much anymore, not lately. But the back of these decks remind me so much of Soul Eater. It's so gorgeous. Like, if I have any anime fans, can you guys tell me if this looks like if it doesn't give you Soul Eater vibes? Like, it's so beautiful. Sorry for the background noise, but yeah, I love this guidebook. I also really like the art. And at the back, we have like a story of the major arcana, which I just find so ingenious. Like, hello, we also have a place to write your notes, any notes you want to take. But hello, we get a whole story of like the journey from the fool to the world. And I haven't like read the entire thing as yet. I still have to sit down and give it some time because like I have so many different decks that I'm just trying to give attention to, the new ones for my September haul. But I love that little detail, and I love that it's full color. Once again, the amazing book quality. I think they're all Llewellyn. Yes, amazing book quality. You get like an image of the card, and then they go into some detail. We have divinatory meanings, advice, and a reversal reflection. So I really like that. Gorgeous book. We also get some spreads. Yeah, we get some spreads. and how to do a reading, introduction. Yeah, beautiful guidebook. I don't know, I just love me a nice, thick, juicy book. And the cards are so pretty. Let me zoom in. Like, the cards are gorgeous. They definitely have a really anime vibe. Let me just straighten this up. It's not even centered. Yeah, very much anime. If you're an anime lover, you're gonna love this. I was eyeing the traditional manga tarot as well, comparing it with this one, and there were some cards that I really liked from that deck, and then there were some cards that I really liked from this deck, but this one eventually won out because there were a lot more cards that I didn't really like in the traditional manga, because they're both RWS based, both manga art style, but the other one, I have to go and look at it again and like pinpoint exactly what was throwing me off from it. I still definitely would like to add it to my collection at some point, but if I were to get a manga deck, this is the one that I would prefer to get. Um, and there are a few collage decks that I've been eyeing as well that are very similar in like the concept, but there are some cards that I dislike in one, and then some cards that I really like in one, and then some cards that I wish like they would just like switch out in the, like, if they were to swap it between the decks, I'd probably be very happy with the swap, because it would, I don't know, but like I don't like to have multiple decks of like the same, I don't know, vibe or style of something, because like at that point it's too similar. Unlike, I'm not saying that I wouldn't, but if I had to pick, I don't need to get both. But yeah, the art is so vibrant. I'm very fond of these borders. It's so cute. Like, I love like just the whole design. Just gives me Soul Eater, and I love Soul Eater. Love, love, love. This deck sold me for the back of the cards as well. Like, so pretty. And I love the colors that they've used and just the style of the art. I can definitely connect well with like this anime manga art style because like I am like such a dweeb. I grew up with these things and they just tickle the right part of my brain because I really resonate with the world it creates, like in your mind, like the imagery that I come up with, I can resonate with because, I can allocate it to certain anime scenes I may have watched where, it gives me a similar feeling or understanding or vibe of what the card is trying to depict. So yeah, I can very easily transport myself into this world. Like, you know how when they say that you have to kind of put yourself in the card, in like the scene of the card, and like live out the scene of the card? That I can definitely do with this deck because of that anime manga. I keep saying I lead with anime because it's really colored and I'm used to my manga being black and white. Yeah, the manga vibe of it. Like, doesn't this remind you of Attack on Titan? For anybody that has watched it, because it reminds me. One thing that I'm not really fond of with this deck, though, the court cards, the ace, hear me, the ace, Jesus, the water, pentacles, and I think swords all have like a similar color palette. Like, you see how this is the Queen of Pentacles and this is the King of Cups? This is like like a subtle blue, and this is a subtle green. But if you're looking at imagery alone without like paying attention, well, I mean, you can see. But like if you're like thinking of the color, like the vibe of the color, maybe I shouldn't need this center, or maybe I should like, I'm sorry, I'm looking at how uneven it is. My gosh, like mentally act up. But yeah, if you were to just look at like the color, like what the color is like triggering in you, you would probably mistake the pentacles for the cups, like just based on color alone. Like even if you've read the thing and you're just like, I don't know, like looking over your cards, just like observing how they're playing together, and then you don't really focus on what it's saying, but then you focus on the color, which maybe not everybody experiences this, but I definitely do. It feels like I mistake one card for another card. No, it feels like I do mistake one card for another card, and it kind of throws me off with that, like just that lack of difference between amongst the suits. Yeah, that throws me for a loop, which I feel like is my only con with this deck. Just the chords, which it's not that big of a deal because you can literally just read what it says, but you know, sometimes I'm not paying attention to what the card says. Sometimes I'm just like looking at the image and then something pops up in my brain, which I could use that to my advantage. Actually, I could definitely use that to my advantage. Yeah, I think I can. You see, the court cards for the wand suit is like a very vibrant red. It is very much different from the other courts, which if I can find one, let's see. Let's see if we can find a swords. Okay, we have a cups. We already saw cups. I'm sorry about just being. Let's see. This is just me being neurotic. Oh, here we have a swords. Okay, if we look at the swords and then, oh, here we have, beautiful, we have a cups. Look at, like, doesn't this look like a pentacle color, the swords? And then cups is barely different from it. I don't know, that just really throws me off. Really, really throws me off. Yeah, doesn't make sense to me, but I can get over it. You know, just read the cards more thoroughly, pay more attention. But it is a very gorgeous deck. I love the world that they've created. Oh my god, I love storytelling with the tarot. That is one way that I can really, really, really understand when, like, the message a writer is trying to bring across or an artist is trying to bring across with a deck. If they create a story, I don't like if they create a story in the imagery of the cards and then they don't explain it in the guidebook. Yeah, I don't like that. You can miss me with that. Like, tell me the story. I love to read. I love to just think about different perspectives or digest and analyze different perspectives when it comes to everything. Like, I'm such a reader. I love absorbing knowledge. Just give me some good stuff to read, some good imagery, and I'm happy. Perfection. But yeah, this is a gorgeous deck. I love the little world. I love how pretty the cards are, and I'm happy I got it. I've been enjoying the deck. I just love anything Barbara Moore. Yeah, this is my second one, and we have another one by Barbara Moore that we have to go through. So let's get into that. This was the Mystical Manga Tarot. Okay, so our next deck is the Book of Shadows Tarot, and this is actually two decks in one. We have As Above and So Below, and it's another Barbara Moore guidebook, which that is literally why I got the deck. And this is my little boy Jin. He wants to be a part of the video. So we'll just have him be a part of the video. But yes, this comes with 2 decks. The As Above, okay, let me read it here. In the As Above deck, tarot shows the universal face of the Book of Shadows, focusing on Wiccan beliefs, teachings, and the universe. In the So Below deck, tarot shows the human face of the Book of Shadows, focusing on the day-to-day experiences. So we have one that focuses on the As Above and then the So Below aspects of life. And I initially really wanted the So Below deck, but this is a low Scarabeo deck and I do not like those tug boxes, and it would have come in a tug box. So I decided, why not get the full set, because I also wanted the guidebook, and this guidebook was not gonna come with just a singular version. You just get the little white book, which I didn't want that. I love Barbara Moore guidebooks, and I really wanted this because of the information it has. Now, I'm not a Wiccan. I don't ascribe to that belief system, but I love learning, and it did have a lot of interesting information in here that I felt would be very useful to just my practice and my life path in general. This deck goes into a lot of detail, well, not a lot of detail, but it goes into sufficient detail about a lot of pagan beliefs and holidays, and we have a lot of information about energy, magic, just a lot that I can just juice up on, a lot of information to digest. I haven't finished reading the book. I'm actually about this far, which I would say is like maybe the middle, around the middle. But we have detail, a lot of detail for the As Above deck, a lot of detailed information. And for the So Below deck, we have, you know, like a good synopsis, a good snapshot of what the card is about. And then at the back of the deck, we have some spreads, and using the decks, both of the decks together, because you can use them together for, like, yeah, we have a double deck. You can use it together to kind of, we have here to reflect the pagan experience. So you would have like an As Above perspective and then a So Below perspective. So how is what's happening in, you know, the cosmos gonna affect what's happening right down here on Earth? So I really love this book for that. And unfortunately for the As Above, the major arcana does not come in alphabetical order. It's kind of all over the place because it's following the pagan holidays, so it goes into information about that. But like, that's my only hang up about it. I would have liked if it was in order, even if it didn't make like sense cyclical wise. I don't know how to word it. Even if it didn't make sense with how like the holidays would line up, it's kind of confusing trying to look up meanings when it's like all over the place. But I think that if I were to read the book beforehand and like get acquainted with the terminology and like the information that they're trying to relay, then that wouldn't be an issue. So yeah, that's my only hang up. But I really like the book. Yeah, I just love any Barbara Moore book. Unfortunately, there's a few what do you call it, typos that kind of throw me for a loop. But other than that, like, the information is very detailed. Like, you get a lot, like a full page of information. And also the As Above deck does not follow the RWS system. It kind of mixes it up with the pagan beliefs, which is really fascinating. And I was thinking of using it as my like magic deck, because I'm not that fond of the imagery of the As Above deck. I really wanted the So Below, but you know, the guidebook was the selling point. And let's start with the as above. I think it's really suited for like really suited to being a magic deck, because it has a lot of those, what would you call it, like magical aspects to it, a very spiritual aspect or a very spiritual energy to it, which I think is perfect to have as a deck that I use for, you know, rituals and whatnot involving tarot. The art is certainly darker compared to the Soul Below deck. Let me just shift this to be more centered. Yeah, like just the actual art, and not like the concept behind the art, but the actual art itself is just pretty dark, pretty dim. So you gotta like really look. But I find the entire setup of this deck very interesting. I will say that. Not that into the art, like it's not my vibe, but I will say it's a very, very interesting concept. For example, this is the wand suit, and they call it the fire suit. And instead of it being like, you know, the typical minor arcana, we have the gods that align with our planets. So for this one, I think this is, I don't know. Let me not even try. But I know this is Neptune. I think this might be, you know what? I don't know. I can't remember. Let me not even try. But they are the different gods that align with our planets. And I find that very fascinating. But it makes a lot of sense why it would be set up that way. And the major arcana, as I mentioned, they're the pagan holidays. So, hi Jen. Don't do that to my cards, Jen. Please. Yeah, those are the pagan holidays. And some of them are renamed. So that's another thing that is really, really different to like a regular tarot deck. I wouldn't say that this is for beginners at all, because I haven't, like, I've done like some test runs with this deck just to play around with it, and it's pretty accurate. It's like pretty accurate, but I think it would require you to study the book heavily. It's not like a deck you could just pick up and immediately start reading, unless you have like prior knowledge about just a lot of pagan beliefs or philosophies and whatnot. So yeah. And since it's not a typical RWS deck, of course the imagery in the minor arcana that we may be used to is vastly different, and so are the meanings. So it does require you to have like sufficient information to read with it, which I don't mind at all. I love a deck where I need to like apply my brain cells to studying it, because it makes it fun getting to know the deck and not just, you know, using the same system I've been using. So yeah, I really like that about it. As we see, the High Priestess is renamed Wisdom. Pretty cool. The Magician is the Elements. So yeah, I think this would be a really, really good deck for like magic, witchcraft, all of that, especially when it comes to timing and things of that nature, because we have those pagan holidays. So I think the timing would be really, really accurate, and just some of the things that they've replaced the minor arcana with could help a lot as well. So it is certainly an interesting deck, very dynamic, and I'm really excited to get to know it a bit more actually. Because it's not something that I'm used to, and I like the challenge, because, you know, it's really not a deck that I would typically go for. Not a deck that I would buy on its own, but since it came in like a kit, I think I would have a good time getting to know it because I have the book to aid me. And I think that, you know, after the challenge, I'll be really well acquainted with the deck. But yeah, this is the As Above. Still getting to know it, still learning it. But the real star of the show that I want to get into is the So Below, because that is the one that I was looking at like, oh my gosh, this deck is stunning. Oh, this is the back. Oh wait, light. Yeah, this is the back. I can't say that I am a big fan of the backs. The As Above is blue and the So Below is green. It kind of looks like, I don't know, early 2000s editing. It has that vibe. But I'm like not mad at it. It's just not my favorite. Because we saw the Storyboard Tarot backs. That one was gorgeous. But yeah, it's getting dark. My apologies. Because I decided to film later. Let's see if I can get the brightness up. Yeah. This one is the one that I was like, oh my gosh, I need this deck. Because the way the imagery has been designed, the concepts, it's so fascinating and so heavily intuitive. Like I am so here for any deck that is heavily intuitive with their imagery. So beautiful. They feature a lot of these like sprites or fairies, whatever, pixies, whatever you want to call them, elementals. I think they're elementals. But yeah, they feature these elementals in each of the minor arcana, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, in each of the minor arcana, which I feel like is such an interesting addition. Very interesting addition. And we do have some crossovers from the As Above deck because we have those gnomes that we had in the earth element of the As Above deck, and we have them here again in the pentacles for the So Below. So yeah, I am just so fascinated with how they've managed to relay, like, you know, just regular everyday sceneries and like just occurrences with the tarot, because it really helps you to connect. It really brings you down to earth with how tarot plays out, and it's not like, you know, very how do I say it? I don't know how to explain it. It's not as heavily spiritual, or I wouldn't say it's not spiritual, but there's certain deck imagery that's just very woo-woo. Or just you have to kind of spend some time dissecting what it could mean, because it's not like an everyday scene, you know. But these are very much scenarios that you can find yourself in on a regular, which is what really drew me to this deck. Just get the brightness. Yeah, which really drew me to this deck. And it's just so perfect, I feel, for client readings, especially because they can also connect well with decks that, you know, feature imagery that they would come across, or occurrences they would come across in their everyday life. And once again, like with the Storyboard Tarot, they could point out things that they notice that would really be beneficial to their reading, that maybe I wouldn't have picked up on, because it's like just so unique to their situation, you know. I mean, this is This is not so much every day, but I mean, you know. Yeah, it is such a stunning deck. I love the colors. I love, like, this Empress is so perfect. Like, this is such a good way to depict the Empress because it's easy to understand what it's trying to relay, you know? And it can, like, be twisted in so many ways just off imagery alone. And we have, like, a lot of, like, magical, witchy touches to the imagery, which I love as well, because not only will this be great for client readings, I think it will also be great for just personal readings, because it has that element of, you know, a practitioner's view, and then also a mundane view, which I think is perfect blend for a deck. So you can really just switch it around for clients or yourself as a practitioner and as a reader. I just love how down to earth it all is, how relatable it all is, and how you can very easily put yourself into the card. And that's what I feel like kind of put me off from the As Above deck, because you can't really put yourself into some of those cards from the As Above because of like how conceptual they are. But with the So Below, like, this is just such a regular everyday scene. Like, you can easily understand this, very easily understand it. This tower is just everything. Love this tower. It is so beautiful. It is just like, I would have loved if it were borderless. I feel like the art would benefit a lot from it being borderless, because there's just like so much that you can digest. But yeah, I think it would be great if it were borderless, because I love the art. I need more of it. It is a typical Caribbean size deck. The card stock is pretty glossy, as you can see, and it's that typical, you know, slippery Los Caribbean, which I really like that. Let me a slippery deck. And this deck does come with reversed meanings, and the back is reversible as well, but I don't really read with reversals unless they come out, because I shuffle normally. Like, I don't shuffle to ensure I get reversal. So if it comes out reversed, then I know it's meant to come out reversed, and I'll take it sometimes if I feel like it. But yeah, I'm not typically a reversal type of girl. Yeah, I love how these scenes are depicted in this deck so much. So much. And I love, like, you get like a different perspective on a lot of the cards as well, like a really different perspective. Like, look at this Queen of Swords. Oh wait, it's Queen of Wands. Oopsie. I can't see well because it's getting dark and the light is glaring from where I am, so it's difficult to see the card. But yeah, this is the So Below from the Book of Shadows Tarot. I'm gonna end it here because it's getting really dark and we're not getting to see much what's going on. But yeah, the backs are green, so it's not like you can't tell which deck is which if we were to use them together. I haven't used them together as yet, actually, because I'm still trying to get to know the As Above, and until then I don't want to be using it in anything that would require a lot of reading. I just want to get a bit acquainted with the deck to kind of understand what it's trying to say before I dive into, you know, the double deck readings. because these we have a Celtic cross, we have a new moon. This is so big. This is a big picture. Let me see if they have any double deck spread. Oh, they don't, but oh, we have some blank pages at the end. They don't. I haven't gotten this far, so I don't know what's going on in the back here, but there's a lot of information to digest. Like, there's a lot of information. Oop. It's so dark. I'm sorry, y'all. The brightness doesn't even go high. But yeah, I'm gonna end it here since it's dark. So the last deck that I got for this month of September is the Prism Oracle, and I have also wanted this deck for a while because I really love the concept of color in oracles, because I'm an artist, so I feel like it's really easy for me to connect with the symbolism behind the colors, and it adds a really nice layer to readings, which is just so perfect, so beautiful. It comes with 45 cards, so it's not like a lot of cards, but that's okay. It's still a beautiful deck, still filled with a lot of information. So the guidebook is full color. It comes with content, introduction. Oh wait, you can't even see. Introduction, some spreads, how to shuffle the deck. Yeah, some spreads. I think this is additional uses. And then we get right into the card meanings, and it's separated by color. So you have the yellow, green, all the different colors have their own little section. Now, one thing about this deck that is a slight bit confusing for me is some of the hues are not what I would consider to match the color that it falls under, and I'm sure we'll come across some as we flip through, but some of the hues are just so off compared to how it looks in the guidebook, which kind of throws me for a loop, and makes it a bit difficult to find the meaning in the guidebook, because I would think a color is like a different color based on the hue. So I spend a bit of time like flipping through trying to figure out which color it'll fall under. But aside from that, I think that this is a great deck. Very simple in the depiction, which I don't mind at all, because I feel like it can pair with a lot of different decks due to its simplicity. It's not very stylistically complicated where, you know, it doesn't like mesh well with a lot of decks. This works really well with decks that tend to utilize vibrant colors, for example the White Numen Tarot or the Tarot of the Witch's Garden. I feel are perfect to be used with this deck. And I love that it's so simple as well, where you don't require like a lot of analysis to understand the message, because it is an oracle deck and oracle cards tend to be a lot more nuanced than tarot. But with this, the imagery is simple, the keyword is simple, and the message in the guidebook is simple as well. So you can really expand on your interpretation, because I do find some oracle decks have really complicated meanings that are so niche that it can be a bit difficult to apply apply, you know, that guidebook interpretation to your reading, and you would have to go more with your intuition. But then the art is just so also so complicated that it's not that easy to, you know, just get a quick simple message. And there's nothing wrong with oracle decks that are more complicated, but I think they have their time and their place. So if you're looking to, you know, spend a lot of time with a card or with a reading and, like, you know, fully digest it, they're perfect. But if you're doing, or if you're utilizing oracle with your tarot decks, which is how I mostly use oracle, and you want just something simple that you can look at and immediately understand, or like immediately get a grasp of, you know, what the message could be trying to relate, this is a great deck for that, because it doesn't do too much at all. And the colors are like the most important feature, which I love, because it can help to emphasize certain colors in your spreads or your other cards, and kind of help you to hone in on what could be really potent in that energy. And I really like that deck for that. I like this deck for that. Yeah, and I love how simple the imagery is. Like, you don't have to spend forever looking at it to figure out what it could mean. I think it's pretty easy for you to get, you know, just either a feeling or a vision, just some intuitive nudge about what the card is trying to say. Another thing I noticed about this deck is that on some cards there is like, let me see if I can catch it, there's like scuffing that you can't really get off. I don't know if it's picking up on camera, but it's like this weird scuffing that you literally cannot remove, which it's not that noticeable unless you really like look at the card, but it does kind of throw me off when I'm like, what is this on my card? And then it's not coming off. But it doesn't affect the readings in any way at all. Oh yeah, I was supposed to be looking at the hues to, let's see if I'll find one, to point out one that I would think is one color but is actually another color. It happened in, I think, with a blue card that was confusing me. But yeah, it is so gorgeous. And I have another tarot deck that really goes into the color symbology they use in the deck, and I think that pairing it with that deck would be like a whole experience. It's the Antique Anatomy Tarot, one of my favorite decks ever. I absolutely love that deck. It's my baby. And I love that they expand on the colors, so I feel like having this deck with that deck, the readings would just be so good. So good. I would have liked if there were more cards in this deck though, because I don't know, I feel like they could really do a lot with this deck. Space is like so perfect, like such a good card. Just blank, absolutely perfect. Not me not finding any cards to support my argument about the hues. I might go into the book or something to see if I find any, or just flip through the deck again. Okay, let's just flip through the deck and find like a card that I would think is for one color, but it's actually another color. I wonder what this one is. Let's see. Let's see if it's in the blue. It is in the blue. Oh, this is not good. I feel like I'm being played right now. This is not a good. Experience. There is a specific, let's see, sadness. I would guess this is like purple. Ah, there we go. So I guess that this is purple based on like the hue. Oh my god, I'm sorry for this chaos. Let me just fix it. All over the place. But yeah, I would guess that this was a purple card based on the hue, but it's actually a blue card. And it's stuff like that that kind of confuses me, because that does not look blue on the card. And it might be a misprint, or not a misprint, but it might be due to the publishers, and you know, maybe file transfers, maybe some stuff got lost in translation, maybe the colors just did not do what it had to do. I don't know, but stuff like that kind of confused me, because I would think that it's purple. I'm looking for it in the purple. I'm like, oh gosh, it's not purple. Then what color is it? So yeah, the hues are a tiny bit off from the guidebook, and you can tell when you look in the guidebook that it's not the color that it's actually, like the color on the card is not the color that it's actually supposed to be. Which let's get into it. Like in the guidebook, it's more of a blue. Like you can tell that it's blue in the guidebook, like a deep depressing blue. But on here it looks like it looks way more purple to me. Maybe I'm seeing things, but like the discrepancy is so vivid. I know it's just me seeing things. But yeah, this is the Prism Oracle. Very simple, very easy to use, easy to mix and match with different decks, because of like how simple it is, and the fact that it utilizes color as its main focus for the deck. It has this holographic edging, which is so cute. The box also has the holographic edging. I found that so cool. Like all of these little things here do it too. I don't know if it picks up on camera, but yeah, you see those little dots, the dots. Yeah, they do it. Anyways, yeah. So that was my September haul, and I'm really happy with my decks. Really happy that I got to add to my collection. I actually have another deck coming very, very soon. Tarot of the Woodland Wardens, which I've been waiting for months upon months for this deck. And finally, it's coming. It's released. I'm gonna have it very, very soon. And I'm gonna be doing, hopefully, an unboxing of it if I don't get too excited beforehand and open it. But I cannot wait to get into that deck. I have the Oracle of the Woodland Wardens, and I'm so happy that I have like the perfect deck pair now, and they're like the exact same size too, which is even better. I've been using the Oracle of the Woodland Wardens with my Antique Anatomy Tarot, mostly because I love how they look together. But it's such a vintagey deck that it doesn't really fit with a lot of the decks I have, which are more modern or whimsical. So I'm so happy that she came out with a tarot. She's such a good artist. I literally love her. Like, she could have all my money, honestly. Amazing. Can't wait for that. But yeah, this was my September deck haul. It wasn't anything too big, but a lot more than I'd usually get, because I don't tend to just splurge on decks like this. This is a lot for me. But I'm really happy with my purchases, and I can't wait to really get into them, play around with them, learn how they read. And I am going to be doing individual videos for each of them, kind of doing a deep dive, how it's been working with the deck, you know, what I use the deck for, just really getting into the nitty-gritty of all those decks. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being here. This was so long. I'm sorry, but I kind of love long form content, and I guess that's what I'll make when I have hauls, instead of like doing it separate or slower. I don't know. But thank you for watching, and I hope that you found something that you like, found something new or interesting. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.